I feel like a lot of guys like getting pumped up before the race, but I'm kind of the opposite.
You know, when I'm doing my warm-up lap, I'm not like trying to kill it. I'm not trying to like overheat the tires. I'm not trying to like pass people or be super aggressive.
I like going into the race just like smooth and calm and relaxed.
Maybe I'll do a couple little brake checks just to make sure they're there. And then you line up and it's all eyes on that light.
I don't know why, I always have to like lift up my visor and like wipe my nose, but like nothing's there, you know, I just wipe my nose, close my visor and like mess with my gloves, and then like that's my, I don't know, that's my little routine. I'd say like my heart is going, like I am nervous and I'm just like ready to go.
Once the engine starts revving at like the launch control limiter, everything starts firing inside of you. And
is really intense, but then I'm trying to calm myself down, like
kind of just narrow in on that light. And it's just this really, I always have kind of a soft gaze at the light.
Oh, there's contact further back there.
You're only as good as your last race. That's the old cliche. And the problem with Moto2 is that if you're a single second off the pace, you're likely to find yourself outside those points. That second a lap is the difference between becoming the next big thing and questioning whether you have it altogether. If we were trying to identify exactly what brings this level of competition, put simply, you needn't look further than two key factors, the bikes and the riders.
it's just the middleweight class in MotoGP.
You're going against 30 riders that are also really amazing, fast riders.
Every one of the riders that are out there are one step away from being in the premier class in the world. So every one of those riders is out wanting to show absolutely everything that they can to get that next MotoGP seat.
You have some guys that are incredible in Moto3 that move to Moto2, and they're there year after year, and they're so good, and for whatever reason they just don't get that shot to MotoGP. And then you have the incredible talents that you rarely see.
So I think it actually makes them ride even harder to show they have what it takes. So I think it's by far the most competitive class in the world, for sure.
This titanic battle for sixth place, well, that's still raging. This is like a first lap battle. What about the battle for third, though? Oh, it's close! It's so close! What a last corner and charge after the last corner between Vietti and Chantra.
Everyone is so close, and if you make the littlest mistake, it's just so magnified because everyone's on the same bike.
So the Moto2 bike is a Triumph the Moto2 bike is a Triumph 765.
We have a limited electronics, we have we don't have traction control, we don't have wheelie control, we have a little bit of torque map, a handful of adjustment with engine brake.
It's a completely prototype chassis. There's a couple of different chassis manufacturers, but for the most part, everyone uses Calyx. And the tires, we all use Dunlop race slick tires. They're actually made just for Moto2. And for the most part, everybody always races on the soft. Even when you think the soft's not going to work, somebody finds a way to make it work. So.
The riders can make a difference in this formula. I think MotoGP, for example, has become an engineering exercise now, and it looks like whoever can come up with the best ideas in MotoGP and the best engineers to take care of that seems to be the bike of the moment. But in Moto2, there is still room, I think, for the rider to make a difference.
All these bikes, I believe the settings are more or less there, you know, it's not like crazy difference between one or another. They're more or less, they know the ballpark or the window where the bike works.
So the starting point is almost the same. That's why you see 1 to 20, sometimes it's less than a second.
And it's all down to the rider. There's no kind of like, oh, this bike's a bit better in this aspect or this aspect. It's really how well you work with your team.
A very small change on the bike setup make a big difference. So it's not easy to find the good setup.
It's a pretty level playing field, I'd say.
Equal machinery leaves making the difference down to the rider, and that gives no choice but to push to the limit every single lap. And riding on that edge so often and for so long ultimately means straying over it.
Oh, look at that bike. Steve. Oh, goodness me. Lowe's is high-sided out! Oh, big high-side for Canet. Wow, Manzi and Montella. Oh, it's a massive high-side at 15. That's a fireball.
Oh, big high side. Oh, Aaron Canet. Oh my goodness, that was close.
Oh! Somebody's bit down further.
It's Joe Roberts.
Oh,
it's a nightmare for the Italtrans team.
You know, I think for me, it's just, yeah. I mean, it's kind of a bit of a blow just because we've had a rough end to the season, you know, like it's not the season we had all hoped for. That's definitely not something I'm stoked on.
Wow, Roberts and Beaubier, the two Americans. There's about 5 riders he's up the inside of and he cannot get it stopped. He whacks into fellow American Joe Roberts and then that just causes major drama elsewhere.
Yeah, friendly fire between the two Americans.
Just highs and lows, you know, it's just a roller coaster, but I was getting irritated and, you know, frustrated because you want to, every rider, you know, you don't want to be riding around in the back or like mid-pack. You want to be making progress, and I felt like we weren't.
Disappointment for American fans. Cameron Beaubier's gone down on the very last lap. He was fighting for the top 10.
No matter how bad you want it or what you think at home, you know, like when reality hits you, it hits you. So. Hey. Welcome to my crib. It's nothing special, but it's pretty cool. It's like my little home away from home for the year here in Spain. I live in California, but I don't live by the beach. I'm like 2 hours from the beach up north, so it's kind of cool, you know, living like the beach life. So. I could have at least shined the shoes up for you, but sorry. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like seeing how good those guys are, you know. I do try to reset from day to day. And I think a big thing that's helped me is having Stu just kind of calm me down, my crew chief.
Gets frustrated quite quickly, which is not a bad thing because it shows he's competitive, it shows a bit of anger, shows he wants to do well. It is difficult for him turning up and then getting beaten by people he perhaps doesn't know.
We just kind of sat down and he told me, he was like, yeah, it's time to be like realistic, you know, these guys are the best guys in the world, they truly are.
And I don't think he's alone either. Obviously, you see a lot of guys with the same crash, if you like, which is losing the front. And when the guys are riding that much on the limit all the time and learning racetracks, yeah, I think I wouldn't want to say it's to be expected, but it's been an unfortunate part of the season.
I'm not gonna just come in and beat these guys, you know, like it's not the way it worked. Even, I mean,
one of the Cam's things, obviously I wouldn't say he's turned into, but he was very much a superbike base rider. And with a GP bike, they are different, and the feeling you get from the bike, the feeling you get from the tyres.
I feel like I still fall into the superbike rider riding a Moto2 bike sometimes. I'm trying to get out of that and be more of a Moto2 rider, but...
And when I arrived, that certainly was one of the problems we had. we're working our way around that now. In fact, we're coming out of that on the good side now, where particularly with his comments, he's not complaining about some of the problems he felt earlier in the year, but it is getting to, you know, the mentality of being a GP rider, and there's slightly different techniques involved as well.
And be realistic, you know, like I came into the season and started the year like not too bad, and like, oh, like something to build off, you know, like get right around the top 10 or like barely dipping in the top 10. And then, you know, we just kept having some crashes and getting beat down. It's just a brutal class. If you know me, I like hot sauce. I found all they really have for hot sauce here is Tabasco, and I found like all 3 of them. So at home, I actually make my own hot sauce. Shelby has a garden, because I live on 5 acres at home, like this little, nice little piece of property in Lincoln. And she grows a garden every year, other than this year because we're going to Europe. But she grows like habanero peppers and jalapenos and Fresno chili peppers. And so I like mix them all together, and it's taken me like a lot of batches to get it good, but I finally got it pretty good. That's always kind of been my thing, is like hot sauce. That's why I put it on the back of my helmet. I put hot sauce on everything.
It's a nice thing in your helmet.
Yeah. Even on like some of the rides I've been doing around here, especially this year for how tough the year has been and like how up and down it's been with like a lot of crashes and like bad results and stuff like that, and a handful of good ones in there. It gives me a lot to think about, like not only just on the bicycle, but yeah, just like sitting here when you're bored at home, stuff like that. I definitely think that Gerloff and Joe, yeah, it was like I said, motivation for me to come back, because I saw them running up front, and I was like, man, like if they can do it, like why can't I, type of thing. So, yeah, it's been cool, and it's cool to have like two American buddies over here at the same time. Yeah.
There are no silver bullets in motorcycle racing. No final piece of the puzzle. Success only comes when all the tiny cogs in the machine turn together in perfect harmony. Maybe we forget that sometimes, watching from the sidelines.
What a superstar Raul Fernandez is. Surely now that means Raul Fernandez will hang on to a famous victory. He's had to grit his teeth. He's ridden through the pain barrier twice in a week, and he's getting the ultimate reward. Checkered flag, he's out, and he's done it again. It's back-to-back wins for Raul.
Do you think fans and the media appreciate how difficult Moto2 is to be a consistent winner at?
I think possibly not in some degrees, but it's also difficult in other classes to be consistently at the front.
The media, I think yes.
No, I think no. Because Moto2 is Moto2.
I didn't appreciate, before I actually started working with American racing and actually kind of spent time in and within the Moto2 championship, I didn't appreciate at how competitive it was.
I think some people do. I don't think everybody does, but that's okay. I see a lot of people making judgmental opinions about one rider or a class or whatever, but they really don't know what's going on.
You know, it's easy to say, this rider is not fast, but maybe he's 0.3 tenths by the first and he's 10, 11.
Perhaps from the outside, I hadn't realised how competitive it was. So that's something I had to get my head around, but it was in some ways a pleasant surprise to know that there is something that competitive out there.
In a way, I do believe a lot of people appreciate how tough this class is, but you can expect everybody to be in the same mindset, especially people from outside the industry. They really don't understand how difficult this class is.
A lot of people don't realise how mental a sport motorcycle racing is.
I don't think it gets the appreciation that it deserves for that respect, but
unless you're really racing this class, even other riders in different, world championships or even championships around the world I don't think realize how difficult this class is. I never like to talk about how difficult it is because I don't want to look like I'm complaining, you know. But
in my shoes, like I've always watched Moto2, I've always watched MotoGP, a little bit of Moto3, and you see the, you see the talent, you see the top 20 is second apart, and you're like, man, like that's pretty nuts. But when you're in it, it's insane. You're like, oh my gosh, like I'm 13th and I'm only 7/10 off or 6/10 off, and it's just like, what the heck, man?
While not everyone appreciates the gravity of the task at hand for riders in the World Championship, for most of them, there'll be one event on the calendar that guarantees unwavering support: the home race.
yeah, I do love it here, man. It's just so nice to fly from LA and, flying from home. It's so easy, and I have a lot of family coming and friends too, so that'll be fun. It's something I've missed this year, I think.
Dude, it's been a crazy weekend, like just with some media, and it's so cool having like all the American fans come out and just like race in front of American fans, and be back at a track I know, and it's been cool, man. It's been so cool, yeah. I'm just gonna go out there and do my best. I don't want to put too much expectation on it, but
I think this weekend we just have to enjoy the energy of this place, and be here and have fun, and
it's so, and like rolling into the track, there's a decent amount of people here already, so it's been cool. How are you? Oh, this way? Oh, it's nice in here. All right. Oh, there he is,
When we found out you guys were coming back, or MotoGP was coming back to Dakota, we're like, we have to come. We knew it was going to be our last. We knew Rossi was probably going to retire, but it was our last chance. But really, we came out to see you guys. So
yeah, mine's very simple. First off, hopefully the settings work for you tomorrow. Are you two as excited as we are to have two Americans on the podium tomorrow?
Yeah. Well, Cam's getting up there today. I don't know. It's looking good. I've got to do some climbing back, but that's the dream, man. That's what I visualize every time I come here. So
you guys got it.
yeah, that's what I would hope for. No, yeah, for sure. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's been a bit of a rough start. I think recently we've been having a little bit of issues with just the setting, and I think this track maybe is exaggerating it a little bit.
Like he said, that would be a dream to get on the podium in front of all you guys, my friends and family and stuff like that. I mean, I've been on the other side of him all year. Like he's been towards the front, and I've been in the back. And yeah, this class is brutal, so.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much.
What about you, man? What do you think?
It's a big bike.
It's a big bike, right? A lot bigger than what you're riding. Well, it's cool bringing the kids in because, I've actually rode with them at training days, so it's cool to bring them in and show them the box. And I know when I was a kid and getting to come in, it was always such an amazing, cool experience, to see a world championship box. And for me to pass that on is kind of weird. It's like full circle almost, from when I was a kid. So yeah, it is cool. It is cool. Cool, man.
All right. Thank you so much, Joe.
Good to see you guys, man. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
I hope for Joe it's a good thing to be in his home GP. He likes it. He enjoys to be around. He likes the attention. He likes when he comes out of the garage and people from the stands cheer at him, and he's enjoying the weekends.
It's important that he be calm, stay with positive vibes for all the weekend.
So yeah, transform that into a good result, hopefully.
The motivation is there. I think if I'm gonna be honest about it, I think right now when I'm at this low point, I think that's one of the main things that you kind of cling on to is the fact that you have all that support.
I don't know if I've ever been so nervous going into a race before. Like I was just, when I put my suit on, the special livery of the stars and stripes, I was just like, oh man, sitting 5th on the grid.
To see that home crowd, the huge home crowd. I mean, every time he came down pit lane, the whole place erupted. It made me emotional, just to see how much enthusiasm and excitement there is in America for these guys.
Come shed some light on me, a little flicker of light to see. Show a little faith, oh please. I'm searching for self-belief.
Yeah, nervous a little bit. palms are sweating. I'm sweating. No, it's good. I'm nervous for Cam because I know he can have a good result. You know, I just want him to get through those first couple laps good. That's the main thing.
I was kind of a wreck, and I think it was because I was putting so much pressure on myself, because it was that race where, you know, there was no excuses. Like, I knew the track. I've had almost a full season on the bike now, and for it to work out like it did is
Moto2 underway in Texas. Good start from everyone on the front row. Look at Beaubier. He's coming through from the second row, and he goes through, but he's a bit deep. He led for all but a tenth of a second. Remy Gardner's coming under threat from Cameron Beaubier, who's got the inside line, and he moves up into second place. What a move from the American. Yeah, and all this battling, this carving up behind Beaubier now, up the inside of Gian Antonio as well. This is music to the ears in the music capital of the world, Austin. Got to be patient there, Beaubier.
Stay calm, stay calm.
Cameron Beaubier now about to try and make a move again. He's so good on the brakes, isn't he? A lot of confidence, moves up into second place. Here comes Beaubier though, he's got the slipstream and he's a demon on the brakes here in Austin. Listen to the crowd. Yeah, the American fans in full voice here, a partisan crowd as you'd expect. Doesn't get any better than this, does it? Absolutely fantastic performance by the home crowd hero. Listen to the reception that Cameron Beaubier is getting now from the American fans. They really enjoyed that performance from him. I think pre-weekend, if you'd have said to Cameron Beaubier, you'll qualify fifth, you'll finish fifth, and you'd have been in the fight for the podium, you'd briefly lead your home Grand Prix, he would have said, well, where do I sign up? So much confidence and belief he will take from that performance.
It was honestly amazing racing in front of the American crowd. It obviously felt so good, but it was like a weight kind of lifted off my shoulders. Like, it was just like, okay, you know, like, I know I can run with these guys.
It finally proved to himself, not only that, to, you know, everyone around him, but most importantly himself, that he knew he could do it.
Every time he did some pass, and to see them, you know, above us on the suite cheering, it was, you know, for me it was very emotional.
There haven't been Americans in the World Championship, you know, competing at this sort of level for well over 10 years, so.
Yeah, just really feeling the support, you know, like after the race, I was, you know, dead tired riding around on the parade, like the parade lap, ride by the stands, and they all like applaud and they get loud for me. It was a really, really cool feeling.
There's Joe Roberts, just giving some American fans some souvenirs.
Angels dance to the band, come on son, we got to bang a drum.
I still got off the bike and went into one of the grandstands, and I've always just wanted to throw my gloves to the fans, preferably after a win, but I thought, screw it, you know, like a bunch of American fans came out and they're all cheering for me.
Unfortunately for the Californian, was not the home Grand Prix he was anticipating. No points today.
Motivation it makes it higher for sure. I mean, didn't translate really into a great result, but unfortunately, but.
Rolling down Hot Pit and seeing, again, like the crowd on the front straightaway, and then my team, like how pumped my team was, and yeah, it was a pretty special day.
No, you played that good. You played that good. And that start was freaking on fire, man. That was awesome.
That to me is like one of the key things that just makes me want to even keep to come back from all of this, you know. Not to mention my support from the team that I'm getting and you know, the people around me personally and stuff, but just seeing that from the fans, it's just one more thing that makes you go, all right, you know, let's just keep this going and find the solution, you know.
Obviously, it was an incredible result, my best result of the season, getting fifth, and I don't want to like hype it up too much or get too excited, you know, because I know we're back in Europe now, and things could, you know, be better, or they could stay the same, or they could get worse. So I'm just gonna kind of do what we talked about and just go day by day and give it all I got each day.